All right, guys, today we're going to practice multiplying with decimals. I have some good news. You have learned this before in 5th grade. So for some of you, this might just be a review. For others, you might want to pay attention because maybe this is something you had a hard time with last year that you're getting a second chance at. If you're any good at multiplying with normal numbers, then you are pretty much set. You're only going to have to learn one other part. If you have a hard time multiplying numbers without decimals, after you finish your homework, you need to get on Math Games online to practice multiplication. Not multiplication.com, like Class Zone or something like that, that is going to have middle school practice, which is what we need. All right. So as always, please put your name and the date on the paper. All right. The biggest difference between multiplying and adding and subtracting decimals is when multiplying, you do not, and I'm putting that in caps, hence my impending doom voice, you do not line up the decimal. You're going to line them up so that all of the numbers are on one edge. So if I had 5.6 and 0.91, I would want them lined up so that all of my digits started in the rightmost side. It's easiest to first multiply like the decimal isn't there. So if you wanted to pretend like the decimal isn't there until the very last step, you could of course do that. What you're going to do is you're just going to multiply like normal. Starting in the ones place, or what would have been the ones place. 1 times 6 is 6. 1 times 5 is 5. I'm moving over a place, so I add a placeholder 0. 9 times 6 is 54. 9 times 5 is 45. Plus 5 is 49. I'm going to add all this together. 6, that gives me 9. 9 plus nothing is 9, and then I have 4. After I've multiplied like normal, I got to go back and count. There's 2, but there should only be 1 blank. It should be the number of places after the decimal. I'm going to use another color for that. Sorry, I had to reach over. So after my decimal, meaning to the right of my decimal, I have a 6, a 9, and a 1. If I have 3 numbers after my decimal, that's how many places I'm going to move the decimal. So I need to move my decimal 3 places. Well, that could either mean 1, 2, 3, or it could mean 1, 2, 3. The one thing that's important to remember about decimals is they move like Beyonce. And you're probably like, what? Decimals always move to the left, to the left. Which means we want to go that way. So we're going to start over here and move to the left 3 spaces. We're going to move 1, 2, 3. And that's where my decimal should be. If you're having a hard time with decimal placement, remember I said a really good way to help you with decimals is to figure out if your answer is reasonable by using estimation. So here, if we rounded our numbers, 5 6/10 is pretty close to 6. And 91/100 is pretty close to 1. 6 times 1 is going to equal about 6. Now, since I'm working with decimals, my number's always going to be probably a little bit off. But 4.9 is actually pretty close to 5, which is close to 6. So we're going to repeat here. You can use estimation to find out if your answer is reasonable, which will help you put your decimal in the right place if you're having a hard time with counting your digits. All right, so I'm going to have you guys try it with me this time. So just to start off with, I kind of gave you another symbol for multiplication that keeps popping up, and that's this asterisk. I write that a lot of times like this on the board. That's what that same symbol is. So I have 2 17/100 times 8. First off, I don't multiply like this unless I'm doing really easy multiplication, so I'm going to rewrite this. 2 17/100 times 8. Since I'm not worried about lining up my decimals, I'm going to put that 8 in the rightmost spot, meaning it's going to go right underneath the 7. So 8 times 7 is 56. 8 times 1 is 8. Plus 5 is 13. 8 times 2 is 16. Plus 1 gives me 17. Now I need to go back and figure out where my decimal goes. Again, I'm going to count the number of places after the decimal. There's 1, 2, and I don't have a decimal down here. So that means there's no digits after the decimal here. So I only have 2 digits after the decimal. So I'm going to move it to the left twice. So 1, 2. 17 and 36 hundredths. If I wanted to do some estimation to make sure that was right, 2.17 would round to 2. And 8 is a whole number, so it doesn't really round. 2 times 8 would give me 16. That is a reasonable answer. All right, as always, I'm going to have you pause and try this one on your own. After you've tried it, go ahead and hit play. If you're just going to watch me do it, it's not going to help you learn. So try it on your own first. All right, welcome back. So, like I said before, 4 and 61 hundredths times 8 and 3/10. I don't multiply going horizontally, so I'm going to write it vertically. Sorry, I did not finish that sentence. And I want to line up my digits on the right-hand most side. So starting over here, 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 6 is 18. So I'll put my 8 here, carry my 1. 3 times 4 is 12. Plus 1 is 13. I'm moving over a place, so I'm going to add a placeholder 0. 8 times 1 is 8. 8 times 6 is 48, so I'm going to put my 8 there and carry my 4. 8 times 4 is 32. Plus 4 is 36. Man, right out of room a little bit here. All right, I'm going to add them together. I'm going to start on the right-hand side like I'm adding normally. 3 plus 0 is 3. 8 plus 8 is 16. I put my 6 here, carry my 1. 1 plus 3 plus 8 should give me 12. Carry my 1. 1 plus 1 plus 6 is 8. And then my 3 plus nothing is 3. So now I got to go back and figure out how many places after the decimal. If you don't want to use a second color, you could just circle. I have 1, 2, 3 numbers after the decimal. So I'm going to move mine 3 places to the left. The decimal always starts here at the end. 1, 2, 3. 38 and 263 10,000ths. If I wanted to figure out if that was a reasonable answer, I could always round. 4.6 rounds to 5. 8.3 rounds to 8. When I multiply, I get 40. 40 and 38 are pretty close to each other. Looking down here, you guys have 6 problems. I threw in 1 or 2, I think it was this one, that had the asterisk instead of an X for multiplication sign that still means multiplication. Do your best and try your best. I know for like this one or this one, you might not have enough room here. If you need to work off to the side or in this bottom column, that is okay. I'll see you tomorrow.